name is April Hill. I'm the news director for News 102.3 and AM 740 KRMG. And joining me today is Taylor Malone with Up With Trees. Thank you for joining us, Taylor.
Thank you for having us.
Tell me what we have here.
Sure. So this accompanies our youth program called Tree School. And what we have here is, what's really important to us is to take the students through something called the P's of Trees, where they learn all things trees: planning, planting, preserving, and promoting. And a big part of the P's of Trees is planting the right tree in the right place for your community. And this diorama really helps us with that, because while we would like for the whole program to be outdoors, we can't always do that. And so what we use this diorama for is to really give students a perspective of their full neighborhood, and to give them the opportunity to design a way for trees to impact their neighborhood. And so what we have is students can, based on the scenarios we give them, design a neighborhood and then choose which tree species they think would do best there.
And what are some of the trees that they like?
Some of the trees they like?
Yeah.
They
How do
like
they pick
all
their
the trees. Let's see. They choose their trees based on what they think is pretty. So a lot of the times they pick trees that produce a spring bloom, like the redbud or state tree, or they'll choose an evergreen like loblolly pine that produces color year-round. Some students are more drawn to fruit and nut trees that will provide food to wildlife and their communities.
And are you able to teach kids the importance of trees? Do you feel like when you go into the classroom that they don't know this and they take that away once you leave?
Definitely. A big part of what we want to do is show students that trees are more than just beautification, that they are tools for improving our communities. And so one great thing about these scenarios that they give them is they see, oh, someone is looking for shade by their home. What is going to be the best species for us to provide them that? Or, oh, this corporation is looking for a tree that will screen their view from utilities and will give them access to green space. What would be a good space? What would be a good tree for that? And so it really gets them thinking about trees in a more dynamic way. All right, so what we have here is a diorama where we are teaching students how to strategically plant trees in their neighborhood to provide benefits. And so once we go into the classroom with this diorama, we present the students with a list of scenarios. And so if you would be interested in selecting a scenario for us to try out, we can kind of work through the process together.
Okay, let's do D. School principal Marcia wants a tree that will safely fit underneath the power lines.
Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is figure out where D is. So where is Marcia's school? Perfect. And so we see that it is underneath the power lines there, and we've got a few different species options to choose from. All of these species descriptions tell us a little bit about how tall the tree gets, what the tree needs to succeed, if it provides any fruit and nut, if it has fall color. And so in looking at this diorama, we might take a look at the loblolly pine, which is an evergreen. It shows color year-round. And so if you were to select one of those evergreens to go underneath the power line, which one would you choose there?
Me? Mm-hmm. I like this one.
You like this one? You
Yeah.
like an oak maybe?
Yeah.
An oak? We can switch up with an oak. So if we were to put, sure, this is what it's for.
Yeah.
If we were to put an oak underneath the power line and it were to become full grown. So once it's full grown, it will look more like this. What would you say?
That's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, why is that a problem?
It's gonna touch the power lines.
That's right. We don't want our trees growing into our power lines because that can be really hazardous. And so we want to choose a tree that might stay a little bit smaller stature. So these evergreens and oaks, they can get really tall, really big. So we might want to consider a tree that will stay a little shorter in the long run. And so for that, we might want to consider doing something like our state tree, the redbud, that produces a really nice spring bloom, and it would be nice for the students to look at outside of their school. And so what the students will do is they'll kind of go through the process like you and I are together, and they'll decide what's going to be the best tree to put there, and they'll kind of deliberate amongst themselves and come to that conclusion together.
Thank you, Taylor. And thank you so much for joining us.